Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. We are here with our lecture on sedative hypnotic drugs. Yesterday we discussed about benzodiazepines, and in the continuation of this lecture we'll be discussing in today's lecture about barbiturates. The learning objective of this lecture would be that you should all be able to write down the mechanism of action, clinical uses, toxicity and drug interactions of barbiturates, and the most important question which is being repeatedly asked in the university exam is what are the clinical uses of phenobarbital? So we'll be discussing all these things, as well as we'll be recalling about the previous lecture, and at the end of the lecture we would have a quick recap about barbiturates and benzodiazepines. With that, we move on to our next slide. About the history of barbiturates, it is basically barbituric acid and it was first synthesized in 1864, and phenobarbital was then introduced in 1912, and they were primarily the mainstay of treatment to sedate the patients or to induce and maintain the sleep. This is the basic structure of barbiturates. Barbituric acid, as you can see, it's got a barbiturate nucleus, and the alkyl or aryl group at the position 5, it confers the sedative or hypnotic activity. Okay. Classification of barbiturates, we have already discussed. They are classified according to the duration of action: long acting, intermediate, and short acting. And the most important one from the examination point of view are the ultra short acting. And you know the name thiopentol sodium. Why it's famous? Because it's a university question. What is rapid redistribution of the drugs? Because they have a very high lipid solubility that goes into the CNS and gets redistributed from the highly vascularized areas to the less vascularized areas. So this is the concept of redistribution. So in the context of general pharmacology, when we discussed about distribution and volume of distribution, then I also mentioned redistribution. It's the concept is that whenever a drug is highly lipid soluble, it first goes to the highly vascularized areas of like the brain, the liver, kidneys, and the heart, and then it moves on and redistributes the lesser vascularized area. So thiopentone is one of them. It has got a high lipid solubility, so it reaches the CNS, and it is being used in the CNS because its main site of action is for the anesthesia is into the CNS. So it when it gets redistributed, its duration of action or the action is terminated because all of the drug is used in the CNS. Okay. So as you can see from this slide that the main drug is the phenobarbital, which is the prototype drug. And students, I hope by this time you all know what is a prototype drug. It's a drug which represents the whole group, like the CR or the GR of the class. Okay. So phenobarbital is the main drug. And I just mentioned in the previous slide that it's a university question. Okay, what is the clinical uses of phenobarbital? With that, we move on. Barbiturates, a little bit about its pharmacological actions in this on the CNS. Okay, it has got a dose dependent effects, like in the low dose it causes sedation, then as you increase the dose it's called sleep, anesthesia, and at higher doses it can cause coma. Hypnotic dose is about 100 to 200 milligram of short acting barbiturates. What are their advantages? How does it help in inducing the sleep? Number one, it shortens the time taken to fall asleep, increases the sleep duration, sleep is arousable, the person may feel confused and unsteady if awakened early, night wakenings are reduced, REMs and stage 3-4 sleep are reduced, REM non-REM sleep cycle is disrupted. So main thing is you fall into sleep earlier and the sleep is arousable, like you are not in sort of a state of sleep that you cannot be aroused with ease. Okay, so this is the main advantage, and it increases the sleep duration as well, because the common complaint is the person has got intermediate awakenings, he's so much disturbed. Even if you take a sedative, but still the duration of their sedative is like 2 hours, and after 2 hours the person is again awake. So these drugs, they decrease the intermediate awakenings of the patient. So Effects on sleep become less marked when the drug is given every night consecutively, and if the drug is discontinued after a few days of use, rebound increase in REM sleep and nightmares occur. So this is, remember one thing, I'm emphasizing again and again, whenever the drugs which have the potential for addiction and they are acting on the CNS, so if they are stopped at once, they would have a rebound effect, they would have a withdrawal effects, okay? So hangover is that if you have taken the drug at night time for the sleep, but what is happening that if you come to the college in the morning, but still you have the post effects, like it's a hangover, that you feel dizzy, unable to concentrate, and you're extremely lethargic. So it occurs usually after a nightly dose. You should be familiar with these terminologies. What is addiction? What is tolerance? What is tachyphylaxis? What is hangover? What is withdrawal effects? What is abstinence syndrome? Abstinence syndrome is basically like withdrawal effects or withdrawal syndrome which occurs because of sudden discontinuation of a drug which is potential for addiction. Okay, so students, for your homework today on your assignment, write down the definitions of these terminologies. What is addiction, tolerance, abstinence syndrome, hangover, withdrawal effects, and tachyphylaxis. These are the 6 definitions which you have covered in general pharmacology, but go through them and write them on your notebooks and send the image for the assignment. Okay, now if we move on, if the dose is sedative dose, it causes drowsiness, reduction in anxiety and excitability. It impairs learning, short-term memory, and judgment. Euphoria can occur in addicts, and they also have anticonvulsant property, but higher doses it causes slow high voltage EEG. It also affects the respiratory system and the cardiovascular system. It depresses both the centers, causes cardiovascular depression and decreases in blood pressure. And obviously when there is so much marked decrease in blood pressure, there would be reflex tachycardia, and the respiratory system is also depressed. Skeletal muscle, it decreases the muscle contraction, so it is in the anesthetic dose it does this effect. The smooth muscle, the tone and motility of the ball is decreased as well. Regarding the mechanism of action of these barbiturates, we have already discussed when we did the mechanism of benzodiazepine. So recall a bit. Number one, you should know the type of receptor. So the full name is GABA benzodiazepine chloride channel complex. They have a GABAergic inhibitionary effect. How? Because they bind to this whole complex and potentiate the GABAergic effects. Okay, since GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, so they increase the level of GABA. How? Number one, by increasing the conductance of chloride channel. How? It causes the increase in the duration of the chloride channel opening, unlike the benzodiazepine which increases the frequency of the chloride channel. Similarly, they have GABA facilitatory effect. Similarly, they have GABA mimetic effect, which is different from benzodiazepines because they do not have any GABA mimetic effect. And they also enhance the benzodiazepine binding to its receptor. So these have got a multiple actions on this ion channel complex. So when we compile the facts about the mechanism of action of benzodiazepine from barbiturates, remember one thing, contrast to benzodiazepines which have only GABA facilitatory action, barbiturates have GABA mimetic actions as well, and they also inhibit the calcium dependent release of neurotransmitters, depress the glutamate induced depolarization, and depress the sodium and potassium channels also. So students, once again, this is a very important question about the difference between benzodiazepines and barbiturates on the basis of their mechanism of action. So it is best to write down with the help of a diagram or in tabulated form. So this is the same diagram which we did previously when we discussed about the benzodiazepines. So as you can see in this picture, This is the binding site of benzodiazepines. This is binding site of GABA, and there is the chloride conductance, and there is hyperpolarization in the cell. And the barbiturates, they bind to the site adjacent to the picrotoxin binding site, which is near to the GABA binding site, and they increase the frequency of the chloride channel opening, whereas barbiturates, they increase the duration of the chloride channel opening, the main difference. Regarding the pharmacokinetics, they have a high lipid solubility, widely distributed. They have plasma protein binding, which is variable. They cross the placenta and secreted in the breast milk. This is the terminology of redistribution, which I told you. This is seen with thiopentone sodium, which is the ultra short acting. Ultra short acting क्यों है? Why does it act for a very short period of time? Because it has got a rapid redistribution. Why it has got a rapid redistribution? Because it has got a high lipid solubility, and when it goes into the brain and heart and kidney, then it gets redistributed to less vascularized areas. But in case of thiopentone, its action is required in the brain. So that is why when it gets redistributed, its action gets terminated. So greater the lipid solubility, greater would be the redistribution. So note down this slide. This is very important from examination point of view, as well as it is asked in MCQ which drug has a high lipid solubility and leads to its rapid redistribution. So these are the dose dependent effects of barbiturates. Like first of all, it causes sedation, then hypnosis, then anesthesia, and even can cause coma and death, and also leads to respiratory depression. Therapeutic uses of barbiturates, they are used in a number of properties, and this is important SCQ. It is used for the treatment of epilepsy as an anesthetic, hypnotic, anxiolytics, psychosomatic disorders, congenital non-hemolytic jaundice, and kernicterus. This is the question which I am telling you that it is asked in MCQs. Okay, what is the drug used for the treatment of neonatal jaundice? That is when the level of bilirubin increases, it crosses the CNS and causes fits in the newborn. So how does barbiturates help? One of the barbiturate, which is the phenobarbital, which is a prototype drug, it induces the cytochrome P450, induces the metabolism of bilirubin, and hence accelerates its elimination from the body. So that is how it clears off the level of bilirubin from the body. Anxiety, for insomnia, treatment of epilepsy, for anesthesia, thiopentol is used. Since it's a ultra short acting, has got rapid redistribution because of lipid solubility. So for anesthesia, you need to give a drug which has got a very fast onset. So you give thiopentol. Neonatal jaundice, and this is the property of phenobarbital, which is a cytochrome P450 enzyme inducer. So this is a question which is a 36-year-old male has been experiencing intense pressure to be more productive at work. This has resulted in this becoming extremely anxious, which makes it very difficult for him to function effectively. He wishes to keep his job. Physical examination and blood chemistries are normal. He is given diazepam, which diminishes anxiety and allows him to concentrate on his work. What is the mechanism of action of diazepam? Number one, it directly opens the chloride channel of the GABA receptor. Number two, it increases the frequency of opening of chloride channel of GABA receptor. And number three, it prolongs the duration of opening of chloride channel. So you have to select between these two. One of the drug groups increases the duration of opening and other increases the frequency of opening. So remember one thing I told you, that the benzodiazepines, what they do, they increase the frequency of opening. बार बार जो है channel it is going to open, ठीक है, and there would be chloride conductance. Whereas barbiturate, what do? They increase or prolong the duration. So this is the key points to remember the difference between these two. This is very important, I just mentioned. So they are prolonging the opening of the chloride channel. So with that, we end today's lecture on barbiturates. Thank you very much. And as I just mentioned to you that you have to write down the definitions of the various terminologies related to CNS. And this was lecture in which we have compared and contrasted benzodiazepines with barbiturates on the basis of their mechanism of action, their toxicity, and their clinical uses. Very, very important topic. And students, one thing that in your notebooks, when you are making your notes, tabulate the differences between these two. And remember one thing, for the elimination of this poisoning of benzodiazepines, we have an antagonist which is flumazenil, that is a competitive inhibitor which binds to the GABA receptor. Whereas barbiturates, it is derived from the barbituric acid and does not have an antidote or antagonist. And there is narrow therapeutic index of the barbiturates, like there is very less safety zone between the therapeutic dose and the toxic dose of barbiturates. Whereas if someone with the intention of suicide takes the high dose of benzodiazepine, so death is more likely to occur with barbiturates because they have a very narrow index, whereas barbiturates are comparatively safer. They have a wide margin of safety. They are less potential for addiction and less withdrawal effects as well. So these are the differences. So at least you should be able to write down by the end of these two lectures 20 differences between these two. So make your target or goal to write down these 20 differences. But for now, you just have to write the definitions for your assignment. So thank you very much, students, and have a nice day. Allah Hafiz.